Football players get tired on the field, so the coach calls a timeout so they can take a break, recover, and be better, more efficient football players. The same is true with you. Just say no. Of course, we have to do many things, but we often will say we'll do something for someone else that we don't really have to do. We'll never learn how to manage our time efficiently if we always say yes to things we simply cannot handle. And this is what happens to me. Someone asks me to do something. I don't want to do it. But I say, yeah, sure, I'll give you a hand with that. And then I resent them afterwards. They didn't do anything except ask me, but I said yes when I should have said no.
Welcome to the Free Lawyer Podcast. I'm your host, Gary Miles. The Free Lawyer Podcast is designed for the lawyer, entrepreneur, or professional who is in some way unfulfilled, stressed, or stuck, and is looking for something better. We will discuss various blocks that limit us from achieving the personal freedom that we all desire, but have not yet fully experienced. And we will give actionable steps to free yourself from them. Are you looking to achieve a new level of success? If so, this podcast is for you.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate each and every one of you. I mentioned last week I've started a new YouTube channel, and some of you have already subscribed to it. I really appreciate that. Please check it out. If you'd like to see this podcast with a live video or a recorded video, please go to my YouTube channel. You can not only hear, but see the podcast. See my message as well as hear it. And some of you I know really like that. You can watch it on your computer while you're doing something else if you wish. And the other is, thank you so much for the ratings and reviews you give me. I really do appreciate that. If you haven't already and you like my messages here, please leave a rating and review. I'd be really forever grateful for you. Sometimes folks ask me, what can they do to support me? And that's really all I ask. Leave a rating and review and maybe share today's episode with someone else, because what we're going to talk about today is so important. We began last week in talking about winning the billable hour battle, because it's one issue that almost every lawyer in law firms struggles with. It's the most common complaint that I've heard from different lawyers. And I shared with you a quote from Tim Ferriss: focus on being productive instead of being busy, because so often we wrongly consider our busyness a measure of our success, and it isn't. And I asked you last week if tracking your billable hours causes you stress, or if you struggle with accurately tracking and managing your time. And does the pressure to meet billing targets cause you to work harder than you want to? Do you ever get tired, like so many do, of having your value tracked in just tenths of an hour? So many of us have that experience. We go home alone at night and we feel like we worked so hard and got so little done. And that no matter how hard we work during the day, there's always too much. We work so many hours, but we haven't billed enough. We spend too much time on certain files. We're falling behind. And it just seems endless, doesn't it? So last week, in part one of this episode on winning the billable hour battle, we talked about how the billable hour system affects us. And we talked about some of the challenges of the billable hour system: time management, client expectations, pressure to build, our value being perceived in time instead of quality and efficiency, strain on our work-life balance, conflicts between the law firm and us, conflicts between us and the client. And we talked about productivity and some of the biggest challenges to it: distractions, procrastination, perfectionism, overcommitting, saying yes too often, a lack of focus, trying to manage multiple priorities, and just feeling so fatigued and burned out. And that when we're not that productive, some of the things we experience are missed deadlines, increased workload, poor quality work, and most importantly, a reduced job satisfaction. And we talked about by being more productive, we can achieve these goals and have these benefits. We will be more efficient. Our relationships with our clients are better because they're getting work faster before they need it. We will find we get more work done in less time and we can bill more hours appropriately. We will be more satisfied with our job, we'll be under less stress, our reputation will improve, and we'll have a better work-life balance. Don't you want those benefits? So how can you be more productive? What is the solution? How can we truly win the billable hour battle? Would you like better control over your daily activities? Would you like to not be so overwhelmed by your billable hour requirement? Would you like to be more productive at work? Would you like to be less stressed and more fulfilled? Would you like to have a better work-life balance? Well, I'm here to tell you you can. And here are a dozen tools to help you have a more satisfying and productive professional experience. And trust me, I've worked these with my clients who I mentor, and every one of them has found they get more work done in less time. They're able to bill more time, be more successful, be more efficient. These tools really work. And you may say with each of them, oh, that's a big change, I can't do that. But trust me, give these a try and it'll work for you. The first is to develop a new attitude towards time. Don't look at time as your enemy. Get rid of these familiar refrains. How often do we hear these things said? I don't have the time. I don't have enough time. There's not enough time in the day. Haven't you heard those said? Don't you in fact say them yourselves? See, we make ourselves a victim of our time or what we perceive as a lack of time, and we use it as an excuse. Instead, take ownership of your 24 hours daily. Make time your friend instead of your enemy. See, those 24 hours are a tool for you to use. How you use your time is your choice. And you may say this is corny because 24 hours is 24 hours. And whether I whine about not having enough time or view it as a tool and an asset and a gift, I still don't have any more time. But you'll find when you stop making yourself a victim and instead take ownership of your day, you will become freer and more productive. Secondly, analyze how you presently use your time. You know, so often I find people say they didn't get enough done. They worked 11 hours, they billed 4, they don't know what happened, but they don't really know how they spent their day. So before we could figure out how to use your time more effectively, you have to understand how you currently spend your time. So for 1 week, that's 5 working days, track your activities and how long they took. And I mean literally have a legal pad right there next to you and begin from the minute you walk in the office until the minute you leave. Each thing you work on, each thing you do, whether it's work or not, whether you look at your phone and start scrolling Facebook, whether you read the local newspaper or check out a news channel or walk down and get coffee and spend some time talking, whether you take a lunch break, whether you work on 1 file, 2 files, when you finish working on one matter, when you finish one activity, note it down specifically, what time of day and how long it took. And you will find you learn a whole lot about how your time is spent that right now you don't know. So track your activities and how long they took in detail for 5 days. It will help you identify how much you accomplish in a day and where you might be spending too much time or wasting your time. You'll discover where you're losing time on unnecessary distractions, unproductive conversations, or wasted activities. And you also learn how long your projects in fact took you. 3, prioritize. Prepare a list of what you have to do and prioritize it. What is most important to you to get done first? What can wait? You know, so often we spend too much time doing the simple, unnecessary, not urgent tasks first. And we put aside the higher priority, more challenging projects. As I said, I would get ready to tackle the most important assignments. Instead, get rid of those tasks that someone else can do for you or that you don't need to perform yourself. What are the most important essential items for you to do first? So, of all the things you have to do, list them in priority order. What should be done first? 4, delegate and obtain support. What tasks do you presently do that you could assign to someone else? What can your paralegal or your administrative assistant handle? Can you utilize support personnel at a much lower hourly rate to free you to handle the more essential items? If there are items you're doing that someone else can do instead, delegate them. 5, schedule your daily activities. Plan your day before it unfolds. The preceding day, make a daily schedule of precisely what you must do tomorrow and when, and stick to it. Put everything on your calendar, including taking breaks and lunch. Before you go to work, already have prepared which of those priority tasks you will do first and when. Your task is to try to stick to your schedule as best you can. You will find that scheduling your day on paper will free your mind to focus on your most critical matters. 6, group similar tasks together. This is a problem that I encountered and so many of us do. I'm working on an important project, and on one screen I have my emails up. I get an email from some lawyer who's a big pain and difficult to talk to, and I get distracted and maybe get annoyed. I may answer him and I may not, but I'm thrown off my game. Or I get a call that isn't really a priority. It's not really urgent, but it's a very difficult, challenging call from a lawyer or a client. And again, I lose track of what I'm doing. Instead of answering every email as it comes in, set a time to respond to all of them at the same time. And in the same way, if you don't have to answer that call right then, let it go to voicemail and schedule time to make all the calls you need. See, if you allow yourself to be interrupted by emails or even phone calls, you will constantly become more inefficient, because now you have to go back and say, where was I? You have to recapture that mental spot where you were before you're interrupted. Let the calls go to voicemail. Let the emails build up. Work on that project for an hour exclusively. And any calls that come in that time, you can return them at the end of the hour. No one will complain that they called you and you return the call an hour later. No one will. If you were at a deposition, in court, at a client meeting, or stuck in traffic, no one would know. So let the call to go to voicemail and return it later. 7, stop multitasking. One of the biggest obstacles to our productivity is trying to do multiple things at once. When we try to do too many things simultaneously, we don't do any of them efficiently. You'll find you lose time and productivity when you constantly switch from one task to another. Multitasking is truly a waste of time, lessens your productivity. Instead, focus on one project only, and complete it efficiently. 8, assign time limits to your projects. Instead of just working on a project until you fully completed it. And what happens then is some of those projects, they take so long, don't they? It's a 3 or 4 hour thing. I'll never get to that. And so what happens? We don't get to it. Say we'll come in on the weekend and do it, and we don't get it finished. So instead of that, set a specific amount of time you'll exclusively work on that project. Set aside 45 minutes or something like that. Then spend that designated time working on that task before you go on to the next project. You will find your productivity will absolutely skyrocket when you have a focused amount of time to work on each project. 9, take a break. It's so important to take mini breaks to recharge your batteries. It may be surprising, but breaks are one of our most effective time management scenarios. Little breaks improve your productivity after you work for an hour or so. Schedule them as part of your day. So for example, Work for 2 hours, then take a 10-minute break. Those breaks should be part of your daily schedule. Whether it's a short walk, a break to chat with a friend, reflection time, or a snack, building these buffers in your day will help you to be less stressed and more efficient. And you may say, I don't have the time to do that. I can't do that. I have too much to do, but you'll find you actually will get more done if you take those breaks. Football players get tired on the field, so the coach calls a timeout so they can take a break, recover, and be better, more efficient football players. The same is true with you. 10, just say no. Of course, we have to do many things, but we often will say we'll do something for someone else that we don't really have to do. We'll never learn how to manage our time efficiently if we always say yes to things we simply cannot handle. And this is what happens to me. Someone asks me to do something. I don't want to do it, but I say, yeah, sure, I'll give you a hand with that. And then I resent them afterwards. They didn't do anything except ask me, but I said yes when I should have said no. So instead, focus on the projects that require your talent and your expertise and will create more value for your firm. Sometimes it's best to decline some tasks to focus on more important, more productive projects that are more important to our firm. 11, block distractions. Emails, phone calls, web browsing, social media messages constantly distract us in our office. It's incredible how much time we waste on such distractions. And may also be interruptions from our staff to ask us things that aren't truly a priority. If you're working on a high priority project, put your phone on silent mode. Minimize your email so you can truly focus. Close your door to limit interruptions and let your staff know that unless the building's on fire or the world's coming to an end, if that door's closed, please don't interrupt me. I'll open it when I'm finished working on this and we can catch up. 12, obtain support from a mentor. It's so hard to meet these challenges alone. These steps, they sound easy for me to say and easy for you to hear, but putting them into practice is hard, in part because we've built up habits over many years of working that are difficult to break. But a mentor can help you manage your time, draw priorities, and be accountable for how you use your time. I've had the opportunity to coach some really good lawyers, and they've learned how to be more efficient, how to bill their time accurately, how to reach their billable hour targets, and find satisfaction in their work. And I'd be glad to help you, because it's one thing to say these things, but applying them is different. I have my clients keep a list of each challenge they had in between calls, and we go over them, and they'll say, I struggled with eliminating distractions, or I struggled with my own procrastination, and we talk about that. My clients have learned how to be more efficient, how to reach their billable hour targets, and to be satisfied in their work. And I would love to help you with that as well. If this is something you struggle with, reach out to me. I'll put a link in the show notes where you can schedule a courtesy call. We can chat about it. Taking ownership of your time really makes a difference. So try utilizing these tools. It will help you simplify your work and you'll get more projects done faster and faster. So begin with developing a different attitude towards time where you look at it as a gift and something you use purposely and intentionally. Take a week and analyze exactly how you presently use your time. Draw a list of the priorities you have and what should be done first. Delegate what you can to other people. Before you go in the office, schedule your day and exactly what you're going to do at what time. Group similar tasks together, so return all your emails and phone calls at once. Stop multitasking. Instead, focus on a project for a certain period of time, because we're going to start assigning time limits to our projects so we don't get overwhelmed by the bigger projects we think will never get done. Take breaks during the day. Take mini breaks to recharge your mind. Learn how to say no when it's not necessary for you to do something. Block distractions like emails, phone calls, interruptions by staff, and don't be distracted by web browsing or social media. And finally, and really most importantly, because this is the one that brings it all together, obtain support from a mentor, someone who has practiced law for a long time and can really help you. I know I've struggled sometimes with using my time efficiently, and I've learned the benefits of doing it otherwise. If you apply these tools, you'll find you have more time to do what you love. You will feel more relaxed and more fulfilled. You know, the maxim, work smarter, not harder, could not be more true. We can learn together how to work smarter. You know, mastering the art of productivity and conquering the billable hour battle is not just about working harder. It's about working smarter. Increasing your productivity can help you achieve more in less time, improve your work-life balance, and provide better results for your clients. When you implement these strategies and tools in your daily routine, you will transform your practice, increase your efficiency, and most importantly, reclaim valuable time for yourself. Productivity is not a one-size-fits-all solution, so don't be afraid to experiment and find what works best for you. With dedication and a proactive approach, you can confidently navigate the challenges of billable hours, and you will achieve tremendous success and fulfillment in your legal career. You know, the billable hour system causes so much stress for so many, and I know you've probably experienced that too, if it's a system you work under. So listen to this again. Think about these tools and these strategies, and take a couple of weeks and try to apply them. And if you need my assistance, please let me know. I'm happy to reach out to you. I'm happy to connect with you and see if I can be of service to you. So thank you very much for joining me for this two-part series on winning the billable hour battle. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great day, as always. And please be well, be safe, and be free.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Free Lawyer Podcast. Wherever you are listening, if you enjoyed what I shared, please leave me a rating and review. I would appreciate hearing more about what you like best and what topics you might like me to cover in future episodes. If you are interested in experiencing a more fulfilling and a more successful life, please contact me at www.garymiles.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me so I can learn more about you, your challenges, and your dreams. I appreciate each and every one of you, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks to all of you for your support.